welcome to Come On You Spurs TV, where we talk about everything Tottenham. And being a Tottenham fan for this season has been a really tough and challenging thing. And we're going to look a little bit about at that. And and then of course look back at the match against Forest and look ahead against for the match against Liverpool Sunday, which happens to be a bad day, by the way. And we'll come to that. So waiting for a birthday present for my boys. I know some people are going to go down the avenue of what happened against City last year, right? In that some Spurs fans wanted us to lose in order to hand City the title. And this season, we have a big conundrum, if you like. We've lost so many matches already, right? Now, we going to Liverpool on Sunday. If they win, they will have won. They will have won the league, And if we lose, we'll be party poopers, And who knows? They might not be able to hang on to the rest of the season. I don't know. I'm only joking, but hey. But that's the place we've gotten into this season. And for me, I would want my team to win, regardless of what happens elsewhere. Of course, we'll talk about all of that in due course. And we'll look ahead to the Europa League, which seems to be this top area where we can potentially have honours this season, albeit a slim chance that there's a good chance that we might not, but hey, 1 in 4 chance is not bad from what we started from in the first place. So with me, I got Chuma. Chuma is smiling, we're gagging together.
No. Hello, one and all. Hello, come on, you Spurs Nation. It's a good week to be a Spurs fan because Spurs, for the second season in a row, are going to decide the title. It's just unfortunate that it's not Spurs deciding the title for themselves. But we'll get to that at some point. But if this is your first time watching Come On You Spurs TV, welcome. If you'd subscribe, like the video, comment, share, click on the notification bell to be alerted every time we bring out new content. And we're always here talking about Spurs. We call it Talking About Spurs from the Afrobeat section of the Lily White section, which means with an African twist, with a Nigerian twist, with a Ghanaian twist, jollof rice twist, whatever you want to call it. That's what we are. But we want you to, we're looking at more positive vibes for Spurs season, what you think is going to happen. Are you positive? Are you negative? Are you Ange in, Ange out, Ange indifferent? Spurs, Europa League or bust? Let us know.
And sexual?
And sexual, acolyte. There's so many different words now out there describing people's positions on the Ange situation with Spurs. So, but we just, have fun.
Yeah, let's start with this so-called civil war in the Spurs nation, which is raging. Especially I'm pretty sure it rages on so many platforms what Spurs fans hang out on. And I've always said that obviously with the proliferation of social media, YouTube channels, podcasts, and all that sort of thing, and of course WhatsApp groups, right? You're always going to find a multiplicity of views that get aired more publicly, if you like, and a lot of people have access to and be able to sort of discuss. In the old days, before the social media became a thing, right? You would sit in your house and you enjoy the match and have a few mates argue about it, and that's the end of it, right? But these days you have YouTube channels, you have podcasters, you have folks influencers who raise the ante depending on where the wind blows on a particular day, and we're not. We're guilty as well in the sense that look, we've got a podcast or YouTube channel where we're airing our own view as well, which I'm not criticizing that. All I'm just saying is that it's made it much more in your face, and some people say that that's not necessarily always a good thing, because sometimes you find that on some channels they tend to sort of promote negativity with a view to getting more views, if you like. Now, which in some cases can be a bit dishonest, if you like. But at the same time, you also find people who what's the word? Is it fastidious, or who have strongly held views that do not necessarily match the rest of the majority. And I find that most what's the word? Towing the middle line is very, very difficult in the way things pan out in the Spurs world for a number of reasons. Because if you hold a contrary view, you tend to look upon as the enemy by the other side who don't sort of hold your point of view, and everyone is like accusing the other side of saying, "Oh, you're pushing your agenda and you're forcing your thoughts down our throats." And if anyone disagrees with the other side, they're thinking you want to force your thoughts down our throats as well. So where's the middle line? But however, what I know is that most people want the best for Tottenham, right? And the way they go about it may be different. Some people think that okay, fine, we need to get rid of the manager. Some people think maybe that's not the way to go because maybe uh, there's some what's the word? Value. My phone is going. Oh, I get it. Okay, sorry.
No, it's
Some people believe that there's value in maintaining some element of stability. And if anybody says that, you get the counterpoint and say, "Oh, are you saying we remain stable and lose 20 games because in order to prove stability, that sort of thing?" But the truth of the matter is that look, I think we're at a point where we're not. I know you and I had the discussion offline, about the last time we had this number of losses was when we had people like Jerry Francis and Ozzy Adilis managing the club, and they had to be let go. But I say that look, their circumstances, their situation was totally different from what we have now. And you mentioned as well because you identified the fact that okay, they might have lost that many matches, but they didn't sort of have a good run the previous season, and they didn't have the injury challenges that the team is facing now. It was just a case of things not really going well for them at that point in time. Now, if we transpose that to where we are now, you take it away, Chuma.
no. I think the real problem. I think the real problem we have is we live in a microwave society where everyone wants everything now. Success, I want it now. Trophies, I want it now. And we also live in a very comparison based world where you don't realize how bad you're doing until you look at the other person.
Mm.
And somewhere along the line, you look at Spurs fans, and most Spurs fans, they have an expectation of where they want the club to finish. But what's really interesting, I think we harped on this before in previous episodes, is this season is actually putting to test that whole phrase. I don't care if we finish 16th, so long as we win a trophy. Well, this season has put it to the test, and a lot of people have failed because the same people who were screaming is top 4 a trophy. Why are we always aiming for top 4? Why should we be in the top 4, top 6? I'd rather finish low table, mid table, and win a trophy than this bloody top 4. Are the same people screaming out for top 4, screaming out that we're no longer in the higher echelons of the league. That the same people, so that they're like it's a bit disingenuous, to me anyway. Those same people are now saying this regarding the losses. Yes, it's an unprecedented amount of losses. We haven't had this since, and saying Jerry Francis and Ardiles, that's well over 20 years ago. So it just tells you how this stacks up historically, But I think, if nothing else, this entire civil war within the Spurs fan base is showing you how passionate people are about Spurs. Um, they're really, really passionate about supporting the club, but it's just, as with all things in life, it's always the extremist side of it. There's like leftist politics, right wing politics. Some people have something left in them. Some people have something right. You're conservative about some things. You're liberal about some things. It's when you are the extreme that it becomes a problem. So the extreme Ange fans are the ones that say, yeah, forget anything else. It's Ange, 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 which I think is not really honest, because you have to feel that, for me anyway, I feel tactically there's some things that he could have tweaked. That's just my opinion. I like Ange as a man. I like him as a coach. But there's some things I felt tactically he should have tweaked. He either refuses to do so, clocked onto it. But there's some people that say, forget all that, we're Ange. Then there are some people who've never liked him from the get-go because he's Australian, because he coached in Scotland, and to them, it's not even a question of, even those 10 games, they weren't even feeling it. They just enjoyed those 10 wins at the start of last season. Those people, nothing he does will make them like him. They're extreme and out. So the problem is where those voices start to completely fill the room up. That's when it becomes an issue. When you have the extreme Ange people and the extreme Ange should get a Ange, who is Ange, and but in the middle is there are these people who are just, look, we just want Tottenham to do well. Whoever is coaching Tottenham, I like you. I'm all down with your tactics. I'm all down with that. But if you let me down in terms of that, you move on to the next. And I think that's where the problem is. Certain people are defending their positions, or people look at their defense of their position as you trying to tell them how to think. And that's a problem. People don't want to be told how to think. But the same people who are arguing they don't want to be told how to think are telling you how to think yourself. So
let me just put this little bit in there so we're clear, right? The only reason I'm wearing this shirt is this is the shirt we wore when we won
when you wore
trophy with Wonder Ramos.
So you're a trophy hunter as well.
No, I'm not. I mean, listen, and there's nothing wrong with that. Honestly, everyone wants their team to do very well. Of course, when we win, don't get that word. When we win, it's not if we win.
Optimus by name.
This is it, Now, when we win, right, it gives you that pleasure. It gives you that. I can remember coming out of Wembley that day. It's the best feeling in the world. The best feeling in the world, And you say, well, you know how these things are. You win one season, it's gone. It's like it's forgotten in history. You're preparing for the next one, And the same thing with this season with Ange. I.e., persevere as I say. This is me, my word to Levy and the fans out there. Persevere for this season. Whatever happens, let's have a restart next season. This season will be history when things, begin to turn around for next season. Because, like as you said, rightly said so far, right? Last game against Forest. Let's have a quick look at that one. You sort of said the premise for what I'm about to say. You watched that game, right? And I watched it as well. Now, during the game, the scores did not reflect what happened in the match, in my perspective, in my opinion, right? In terms of the stats, the attacking, the shots on target, the efforts on goal, I thought we totally dominated that match and deserved not even a draw. We actually deserved a win, But again, the truth of the matter in football is that it doesn't matter what you do, just put the damn ball in the net. However you do it, just get over the line, and that's what counts at the end of the day. Not possession, not attempt on goal, not those things. But what those things do. What those stats do for you is they give you the confidence or the perspective that, okay, you're on the right track. Okay, you just need to improve on certain areas. It's a different matter entirely when you don't play well and you lose. And it's a very, very different position when you actually play very, very well. But okay, on the day you weren't lucky enough for your boss going, or somebody had a man of the match performance to prevent you from winning. And I think that's a mixture of what happened on the day we played Forest. Now, me being part of a Spurs or many Spurs groups, I've gone on those channels and the feedback has been utterly unbelievable. We're trash, we're dross, and doesn't have any tactics, it's just useless. And I'm thinking to myself, we actually watch the same match, or this is just some sort of emotional response to what happened on the day without actually sort of thinking, this is not what I saw in the match, but hey, everyone to their own internal views. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it's always so funny when I think two people watch games and people watch games with a certain kind of emotion. I think at some point it distracts from what they're actually seeing. And the case in point is I was actually arguing on another group. I was debating with someone about a player in another club and for his club. And I was saying the guy was trashing his player. And I was saying, are you serious? That guy was amazing. But you see, the guy didn't perform to what he wanted the guy to perform up to. So in his opinion, the guy was trash. And I was like, no, this guy was killing it. You're rivals. You're our rivals. And I can't stand the guy, but I have to come out and say the guy's a baller. And it's the same thing with this Forest game. Spurs started well, and then Forest had a game plan. Forest's game plan was sit tight, suck Spurs in, play that long ball to Chris Wood, play it out wide, the diagonal, get inside and just score and come back again. And fall back, fall deep, fall back, fall deep. You're like five guys deep every time they defended. And it was brilliant. It was really brilliant. It was a very good tactic for them. It reminded me of what we did to City when we were playing under Conte. Just hold it, break, kill them. Hold it, break, kill them. And they did that to us quite a few times. They kept trying the same tactic, but Spurs created so many chances. This is the first game, and you and I were talking off air about Matisse Tell and Odeberg. Having both of them on the flanks was amazing. This is the greatest number of pullouts to the striker we've had in games, And everyone talking about Dominic Solanke hasn't had these opportunities that Richarlison had. Also, having Richarlison up front I think, was a stroke of genius because Richarlison is a pest of a striker. He's the kind of striker you need against a low block. Because if you had Solanke playing that game, he would have been dropping deeper.
Hold on. I thought Ant doesn't change his style.
Hey, well, you learn something new every day. But I thought, but like you said, once you don't take your chances, you don't score goals, you don't win matches. And if people just go based on the results, which of course we do, majority of us do, but I would like to think you tried. It used to be something Spurs fans used to always say that I liked, which was you can lose the game, but at least show us that you're trying. You know, grab the game by the scruff of the neck, defend the shirt. And I thought those boys actually did very well. And Ange said it in his press conference. Well, right now, Ange has little or no credit in the bank whatsoever. So even if he likes, he can talk, as we call him on the group affectionately, Yiannapolis. He's just yanning. He's just talking. So for people, he's just sound bites. He's a politician. Exactly. He's just speaking to the birds. But in reality, that game, if you really assessed it from a macro point of view, not just the little micro incidents that happen like the goals, you really look at that game. It was there for the taking. It's one of several games that we should have taken, but there's a problem with Spurs. I think is linked to a lot of mindset and focus as well of the players. But you said that's the coach's job. But I remember watching a behind the scenes video from Manuel Pellegrini, former manager of Man City, now Real Betis' coach, where he said, my work is 75% of my work is on the training pitch. When you come training, 75% is me, 25% is the players. When we're on the pitch, those roles are reversed. It is now 75% them, 25% me. Sometimes I look at those Spurs players, and we've said it manager after manager. There's something culturally, there's something mindset wise, there's a certain level of grit. There's something about those players that makes them crumble, capitulate. There are things that need to be changed within them, the core of those players. Mentally, we need new players that have a different kind of mindset, which is why I also, we talked about this before. The reason I'm not pro Daniel Levy is because I would rather buy players with some experience, modicum of experience that can come in there that are used to these situations, that are used to being in these positions and playing the game. I think that is essential. But if you look at Spurs, all our targets all end up being young kids who, honestly, I follow youth football in Europe. I think they're gifted. I think they're geniuses. But it's the next 4 or 5 years. Next 4 or 5 years. It's not now. Spurs need to buy 2 or 3 now guys, and we will see the difference. But unfortunately, we don't. That's not the transfer model they're interested in. And I think it shows in. If Ange had some really good pros, honestly, even if you look at his previous clubs, he had good pros in his previous clubs. So he's been shortchanged in that sense by the ownership, the organization, the leadership, whatever you want to call them. But Spurs did really, really well. Didn't come away with the result. Forest deserved it, taking nothing away from Nottingham Forest. You have a game plan, and they execute their game plan very, very well. Nuno has them drilled to a point, But as in all things, according to our esteemed friend, the Honorable Alexander Gamble, it's all about next season. Is he consistent? He said the same thing about De Zerbi. De Zerbi is out of the league. Let's see Forest do it again next year. But Forest, applause. They've done really, really well. Amazing, amazing journey this season for them. But next season, you have Champions League. Some of your players are going to get poached because they played so well this year. And you have a huge schedule next season. You're going to be in 4 competitions. Let's see how that works.
Yep, that's a good one. Coming up to Liverpool. Liverpool were going there Sunday. I mean, we talked a little bit about them in terms of saying that knowing Spurs, that's when we go there and go and win. I think. What do you think is going to happen at Liverpool?
Well, whenever Arsenal fans become Spurs fans for a day, it never quite works out in their favor. So, but it's like we said off air as well. I just look at Spurs and I think even in this running, I still say there's going to be someone or somewhere we will shock people and give someone a right good tonking. And, I'm not saying it's going to be Liverpool. Liverpool are going to be so hyped up to win the league at Anfield, doing it in front of the Cup. You never walk alone, all that, Bear in mind, if Crystal Palace had beaten Arsenal over the weekend, we would have been the guard of honor on Sunday.
Yeah.
So we've brushed through not being the guard of honor. But could we be the chefs that create the menu for the title? You never know. But for me, I don't know. Liverpool need a draw. And I can somehow see Spurs either drawing with them or even, believe it or not, and people think it's crazy. It's one of those crazy games where Spurs could just really show up. We show up against very big teams sometimes. I don't know. But Ange has come out to say he's going there for a win. Same as he said against City last season. So let's see what happens. I think it's going to be a draw and Liverpool get the title. But I wouldn't be surprised for a cheeky Spurs win. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yep. So let's hear your thoughts in the comments. What do you reckon? You think Spurs will capitulate as they've done a lot of the games this season, or they go out there and pull a big surprise out of the heart rather? So I look forward to your comments and your what's your thoughts on this? I know that everyone's like saying that. Okay, I mean we've had a few. But more than a few actually, negative comebacks or remarks, if you like, about Ange's statement when he says that he always wins in his second season. And I mean, putting it into context, the man was just answering a question that he was asked, But I mean, the press went to town and made it out like he was, he was obviously bigging himself up. Just ask a question. You win every second. Yeah, it's happened. That was happened, and I hope we can do the same this season. He didn't say he will do the same. He said he hope he can do the same. Tottenham, and I hope he does too. But I mean, it's gonna be. I mean, it's one of the 4 chances we've got this season, haven't we? So hey, what do you reckon?
It's the statement is true until it's no longer true, and it's still true potentially until it's no longer true. So the longer it continues, the more it's still true. So let's see.
Indeed. So guys, we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much, Chuma. It's been great having you as always. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.